1 week after a mass shooting in Brooklyn left 2 people dead and 28 others injured, there's still no word on any suspects. We're pressing city leaders for updates on the investigation tonight. And this week, multiple city agencies, including the mayor's office of neighborhood safety and engagement, will be in the hot seat. The unanswered questions on Safe Streets workers' actions leading up to that mass shooting. And battles are looming over military funding, Ukraine support, the Supreme Court, and more. Taking a look at what to expect from lawmakers on Capitol Hill as they return to D.C. this week.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Tonight, we continue our coverage on the Brooklyn mass shooting. 2 people were killed and another 28 were shot. 3 of those victims still in the hospital. Police still have not identified any suspects. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mackenzie Frost. We start our coverage with Alexa Ashwell. She questioned police and the mayor on the investigation today.
The latest development in this case coming out of district court. The teen facing weapons charges related to this mass shooting denied bond, but so far, no other arrests.
30 victims, 2 people killed, 1 teen facing gun charges, and a mound of questions that remain. More than a week has passed since the Brooklyn Day mass shooting, and investigators have yet to charge anyone with the actual shooting. Fox 45 News questioning the mayor on the pace of this investigation.
Why isn't this investigation further along?
So this investigation is pretty far along, but as we do with any case, especially a homicide or mass shooting, our detectives working with our local, state, and federal partners on this will continue to go through every single thing, and we'll be making charges as we track down every lead.
One of the only leads released to the public thus far involved a teen captured in this social media post. Acting BPD Commissioner Rich Worley speaking to him during the department's latest on-camera press briefing held 1 week ago.
That young man is a suspect in the crime because he had a weapon at the scene.
Then days later announcing his arrest in this press release. The teen's attorney speaking with Fox 45 News after he was denied bond.
They're holding him for gun charges when we allege that what this young man had was an Orbeez gun. An Orbeez gun is a toy.
While investigators piece together the who and why in this investigation, major questions also remain about the department's response and the event itself. Here, dispatch audio from about an hour and a half before the mass shooting took place, seemingly indicating police were aware of the growing crowd.
It's a big crowd. Transform right here. Any other units?
Acting Commissioner Worley later revealing the department wasn't informed Brooklyn Day was being held and that the annual event was unpermitted. Baltimore City Councilman Mark Conway, who heads Council's Public Safety Committee, on the radio.
I think what we do after this incident is going to tell us a lot about his ability to lead the department and his vision for the department, and even more his ability to respond to complicated and high-profile issues like this. I think this is going to be a really, really important test for his ability to be a strong commissioner.
The mayor showing his full confidence in Worley.
Has it swayed your confidence in Worley as the next commissioner for Baltimore?
No.
We also asked Mayor Scott if he could provide any additional updates on this investigation. He says authorities are still working on tracking down those responsible. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
The assistant state's attorney calling the teen allegedly caught on video with what looked like a gun at the Brooklyn Day party a threat to public safety. The boy's lawyer pushing back on those claims, pointing out police did not actually find a gun on the teen or anywhere in his home. The comments come as City State's Attorney Evan Bates and a number of public safety officials criticize Maryland's juvenile justice laws, saying they leave police and prosecutors' hands tied.
To be honest, I think it's one of the worst pieces of legislation I've ever read, because what it has done is taken the process of holding juveniles accountable away from prosecutors.
Those protections have given way to a protection of some people who have committed very heinous crimes, which, yes, that does hamper what we are doing now.
Those leaders taking issue with 2 laws specifically. One of them, the Juvenile Justice Reform Act. Supporters say it's aimed at providing services to juveniles instead of lengthy sentences. It prevents children 13 and under from being charged with most crimes. If a child commits an adult misdemeanor, the maximum sentence is 6 months probation. If a child commits an adult felony, the maximum penalty is 1 year probation. Then there's the Child Interrogation Protection Act, which states law enforcement cannot speak with any child until they have spoken with an attorney. That requirement cannot be waived. And as state lawmakers are under fire for their public safety policies, city leaders are demanding answers on how the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement responded to last week's shooting. On Thursday, the city council is holding a hearing on the Brooklyn shooting, putting interim Monzi director Stephanie Mavronis in the hot seat. Some major questions about Monzi and Safe Streets are expected to be asked as more details emerge about how the city was left so unprepared. Thursday, the police department, mayor's office of neighborhood safety and engagement, housing and transportation will all face council members during hearing to figure out how and why there wasn't more done to prevent Brooklyn's mass shooting.
Why was there no police presence on the scene? Why did we not know about the event in advance? Who knew about the event in advance? Councilman Mark Conway, chair of the city's public safety committee, says he's expecting answers. But the questions now being raised circle back to the uncertainty of an agency Fox 45 News has been investigating for years. Monzi overseeing the implementation of Safe Streets, Baltimore's flagship gun violence prevention program with 10 different locations across the city. One of those locations in Brooklyn, where 4 Safe Streets workers mediated several conflicts earlier in the day during Brooklyn Day between people with guns but left before 30 people were shot, 2 of them killed. Interim director of Monzi, Stephanie Mavronis, making it clear last week the policies for Safe Streets workers telling someone about a potential threat were not in place.
I don't know that Safe Streets would relay that. I would say there is some level of communication about any incidents that are outside of their purview.
Last week, Monzi said those policies were under review. After multiple emails last week asking about that policy, it's unclear when or if any changes will be made. It's not the only question Fox 45 News is asking that's going unanswered. In June, we asked about this organizational chart. We sent questions asking, what are the qualifications each employee has to justify holding their respective role? What is their previous employment? Will you allow Fox 45 News to interview any or all Monzi employees to learn more about their work? Has anyone on the chart been convicted of a misdemeanor or felony? No answers to those questions from 3 weeks ago. And some of our public records requests going months without even being acknowledged. In May, we sent 5 records requests, including quarterly reports from organizations getting taxpayer-funded grants, a list of all grants approved and awarded through Monzi since December 2020, and former Monzi director Shante Jackson's direct expenditures. Fox 45 News only getting a response after sending a demand letter. Still no actual records yet. Meanwhile, Monzi continues to face serious questions about the agency's effectiveness. Despite being without permanent leadership, the city continues to dole out cash to Monzi, the agency giving $5.1 million in federal COVID relief money to Catholic charities to run Safe Streets, and the same organization getting $3.9 million at the end of June to run Cherry Hill and Penn North Safe Street sites. $12 million awarded to Life Bridges Center for Hope to run other locations.
You can't call something your flagship program and then have this mass shooting.
David Williams with the Taxpayers Protection Alliance argues Baltimore's Brooklyn mass shooting highlights the need for more transparency and accountability for the Safe Streets program.
You can't be an entity that's receiving tens of millions of dollars in taxpayer dollars and not be accountable for that.
While the city is slow to comply with the law when it comes to handing over public records, Fox 45 News continues to demand answers about accountability, transparency, and effectiveness surrounding a program designed to save lives in a city that continues to be gripped by gun violence. We want to know what you think. Do you trust City Council to ask tough questions about the mass shooting? So far, 98% of voters say no. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote right now to weigh in.
Now, a Fox 45 News alert in 3, 2, 1.
Well, we are following the latest on a 17-year-old shot this afternoon. Police say the teen is in critical condition right now. He was shot along McElderly Street in southeast Baltimore just before 12:30. Officials saying he was hit multiple times in the body and the face. Police believe this is a domestic-related incident. Another teenager, a 15-year-old, was hurt in a separate shooting in central Baltimore just before 4 this afternoon. Anybody with information on either shooting should contact Baltimore police. And, of course, we're going to continue to update this developing story right here and online at foxbaltimore.com.
And jury selection began today in the trial for Akia Eggleston's murder 6 years after she went missing. Michael Robertson is charged with her death. Robertson, who investigators say was the father of Akia Eggleston's unborn child, was arrested in Michigan nearly a year and a half ago. Akia was 8 months pregnant when she failed to show up to her baby shower back in 2017, and her family demanding justice.
And we will continue to stand united as a family until the final judgment in this case has been rendered.
The trial is set to continue tomorrow. Working just one job is no longer an option. Why more people are choosing to work 2 careers to make ends meet.
And for this evening, temperature is going to be nice and pleasant, but it looks like hotter weather is going to be coming on the way. So enjoy it while we got it. I'll let you know when we could have highs in the mid-90s and when humidity returns. It's in my Weather Authority forecast.
Looking for some drama? Well, look no further than Capitol Hill. I'm Christine Frizzell with what to expect in the coming days.
Looking live to Capitol Hill now, lawmakers are on their way back to Washington after a short break, and the list of what they hope to accomplish is unending. It's already setting the stage for a hectic couple of weeks that promise to be filled with tension and drama. National correspondent Christine Frizzell is live on Capitol Hill for us with a preview. Christine.
Yeah, Mackenzie, just to give you an idea, we already have some senators back, and we heard Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on the floor slamming what he calls the hypocrisy of the Supreme Court. That's just one issue, but we do expect a lot of the drama to play out on the other side of the Capitol in the House of Representatives.
In every corner of the Capitol this week, battles are expected to be waged. The must-pass National Defense Authorization Act is a whopping $886 billion bill, which includes a pay raise for service members and millions more for Ukraine. Tensions expected to rise in this week's hearing focused on the origin of the coronavirus. House Republicans arguing for months top government officials hid evidence and engaged in a cover-up about how the virus started.
A lab leak is possible. I would go even further to say the lab leak is probable.
Another top priority for GOP lawmakers, focusing on what some argue is the weaponization of the federal government.
I have been to all 56 of our field offices twice.
FBI Director Chris Wray set to testify and be grilled about accusations his agency has mishandled investigations, including into the president's son Hunter, following testimony from whistleblowers.
The FBI suspended my security clearance, accusing me of actually being disloyal.
As Democrats blame Republicans for following orders they say were handed down by former President Donald Trump.
We all know that when Trump says jump, the Republicans in the House say how high. My colleagues on the far right are on a mission to attack, discredit, and ultimately dismantle the FBI.
As that fight carries on, other Republicans planning to target the salaries of Biden administration officials, even in some cases threatening impeachment, like with Attorney General Merrick Garland, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, and even President Joe Biden himself.
They're saying that's what we promised to do, and that's what we're holding up our end of the bargain for our voters, and their base loves it.
Believe it or not, there are just 12 working days left before lawmakers head home for the August recess. So you can expect that chaos here on Capitol Hill to be amplified by the ticking clock. The deadlines, debate, and drama expected to dominate. Mackenzie?
All right, the Fox triple cast. You see those puffy, beautiful clouds on the Mile 1 Task Cam. Well, maybe more so the Toyota Eastern Harbor Sky Cam. Real nice looking day. HG radar shows our latest weather maker continuing to move its way toward New England, causing all kinds of havoc there. On the backside of that, nice dry air is worked in. Unfortunately, a lot of times what comes around here with the drier air is lots of sunshine, and during the summer, it bakes up some of that nasty pollution that's around the ground level, creates what we call ground level ozone. And this is why we now have an air quality alert, a code orange day for tomorrow. That includes the Baltimore City metro area as well as Annapolis down in Anne Arundel County. And actually, it probably looks like that'll last into Wednesday as well, looking at some of the air quality forecasts. And this is unhealthy for sensitive groups. That means those that have pre-existing heart, lung issues, as well as the very young and the elderly. So spend some extra time inside if you're in those groups. Otherwise, feeling good outside right now. Look at that, 88 degrees. So we take a look at Towson. This is the north side of the Beltway. I believe we're right around Charles Street area here. This is on our traffic camera network. Winds out of the north-northwest at 5 miles an hour. The heat index, not bad with that humidity lower at 43%. This is what we talk about. When that humidity comes down, doesn't feel as bad outside. It's still warm, but 88, that's about as high as we've gotten today, maybe 88, 89. But not making it to the 90-degree mark. 83 at Cockeysville, 90 degrees at Westminster, though. 84 at Stevensville and down the eastern shore. Still, they're just getting plowed with rain here over portions of Vermont, as well as all the way down to even Connecticut. This is the stuff that came through here yesterday. Right now, though, we are sitting pretty behind a cold front. This is drier air. Now, the cold part of the front, I guess, was today when we were in the 80s. Tomorrow, the heat comes back. Devastating flooding continues to our north and east up toward Vermont. Some of the ski resorts having massive mudslides in portions of Vermont. Just really terrible scenes coming out of New York, Pennsylvania, Vermont. Just not far away, but we missed out on that. What we did get is now the drier air, and that will continue tonight into tomorrow morning. Look at those temperatures in the 60s. Open the windows, enjoy it. And tomorrow we do make it up to about 90 for a high, and it gets hotter from here. I'm going to let you know how hot it gets in my exclusive 10-day forecast in a couple of minutes.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
After a rough weekend weather-wise in a lot of the country, viewers saw some beautiful weather shots today. Here's a nice sunrise on St. George Island in Florida with crepuscular rays sneaking out from behind a lighthouse. A viewer caught this sunrise in Dillon County, South Carolina in a healthy-looking cornfield. Meanwhile, there's still some snow on top of the Teton Mountains. Some ski resorts in the west remain open.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
One career, not enough. Why so many Americans say they may have to work multiple jobs for the rest of their lives. A recent survey by Bankrate found that 39% of workers have a side hustle, and even more think they'll always need a second job. Christina Flores from our Sinclair sister station in Salt Lake City has the details.
Glenna Lotulele teaches history at Hillside Middle School.
I love my job. I love teaching middle school. It fits me.
And when the school day ends for students, the workday is just beginning for Mrs. Lotulele at her second job.
I work at Delta Airlines. I'm a ramp agent. I work on the ramp.
And how long have you been doing that job?
25 years this November.
Both jobs year-round for 25 years.
I'm either working here or I'm working at the airport.
Mrs. Lotulele says she took on her airport side hustle years ago for her kids.
My children are my motivation.
She and her husband decided for their kids to play sports, they'd both need side hustles to cover expenses. But now with inflation, their side hustles are more important than ever.
$1,000 a month.
For food?
For food. That's not even including gas.
Mrs. Lotulele is not alone. In Utah, the workers most often with side hustles are teachers, followed by healthcare workers. But lately, it seems everyone has a second job.
Seeing a teacher with a side hustle probably doesn't surprise many, but we're seeing it absolutely pervasive. especially in the younger ages. And when I say younger, below 30.
Carrie Wasden is a professor of finance and economics at UVU. Is the side hustle here to stay?
It is.
Yes, life is expensive right now, and wages do not match the cost of living. But that is not the whole story. Is inflation to blame for all the side hustles right now, or is it more than that?
It's not. It's actually a change in how people perceive being an employee.
Wasden says the pandemic and the shift to working from home created an environment where workers did the same job in less time because they didn't have to commute, take lunch breaks, or socialize at work. Suddenly, workers did their main job in fewer hours and had extra time to take on a second or even a third job.
That created the impetus or the catalyst for the side hustle at a level we've never seen before, and we're not going back. Now we're in an environment where I'm not going back to the office. And if you force me to go back, sorry, I'll stick with my other side hustle. It doesn't require me to go back, and maybe I'll pick up another one.
Should we be worried about this environment where people are working 2-3 jobs all day long?
It has enormous consequences, absolutely personal life and health, but family life.
After 25 years, Mrs. Lotulele finally sees some days off in her future.
I am going to probably retire from one of these jobs and just have one job.
Christina Flores, KUTV 2 News.
Our exclusive 10-day forecast, the heat is on. At least humidity stays down for Tuesday, Wednesday, but it's back Thursday. Some PM storms, 92, 95, 92. Look at this. More 90s for Friday. More 90s for Saturday and Sunday. Could see a couple of spot storms there on Saturday. A little less rain on Sunday, and it looks like we could have 90s all 10 of those days.
Jonathan, thanks. Take a look at this. The rescued river otter pup at the Maryland Zoo is eating solid food now. The zoo posted this video of the baby otter eating a snack. The zoo says she has been weaned off the formula. Oh my gosh, so adorable. And her diet now consists of cut up fish. Rangers at the Maryland State Park rescued the pup back in May when she was just about a month old. I could watch that on loop. It's adorable. That's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud is next. We'll see you right back here at 10 o'clock.